Simone Sharma is an 18-year-old student and the founder of Youth Grow Youth. She embarked on her entrepreneurial journey at 16, launching YGY to make global resources and opportunities more accessible to the youth. Through their online platforms, they've successfully impacted and helped over 60,000 plus youth globally avail opportunities from internships to volunteering to mentorships from professors and alumni of several reputed institutions. Also Ivy League webinars, all free of cost, and she's joined me today. Welcome, Simone. So wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you for having me, Tanith. It is such a pleasure to be here.
Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I'm so excited to find out more about you. As I've done the research, I've really realised what a fantastic work that you are doing. But let's find more about how you arrived at this place in general. So as a young girl, you'd originally dreamt of pursuing sciences, I'm aware, but you're in the UK and you're doing a Bachelor of Science and Business at the University of Bath. So talk to me about what influenced that changeover.
That is such a lovely question. For me, as a child, I would say my dream was essentially to end up within the medical field, to do something in sciences. And it was only inspired by the desire to want to help people and make a positive impact in the lives of people. But I think as I grew older and experienced more of the world, I realized that my passion extended beyond the med field and sort of delved a bit more into business. And that revelation, the idea of it, led me to pursue a Bachelor's of Sciences in Business at the University of Bath, where I felt I could merge my interests in creating meaningful change with my passion for entrepreneurship and innovation at the same time. And I'd say this degree, this current course, has really allowed me to explore multiple areas of impact. And that very well aligns with my mission to want to help more people, also through Youth Grow Youth. So I think it's been a wonderful experience to understand the multitudes of this course while also understanding that I am still empowered to create impact in the world.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. And I know that alongside doing that and Youth Grow Youth, you're doing loads of extracurricular things, because I see it all on LinkedIn all the time. But that is just you as a human being, because you launched Youth Grow Youth when you were just 16, and in such a short time you've achieved so much. So we talked about 60,000 plus people that you've impacted. What were your original ambitions for Youth Grow Youth, and what has it been like seeing it accelerate in the way that it has in this short space of time?
Another lovely question. When I started this at 16, the simple and underlying goal again was to just help people, to help as many young people like myself as I can. Growing up, I did not necessarily find the opportunities and resources that I needed to thrive both professionally and personally. And when I realized that this power, this problem extended beyond myself, and that there were so many people facing the exact same problem, I felt compelled to want to create a space that would simply connect young people with multiple resources and opportunities across the world. Because as an individual, you do need multiple levels of resources and opportunities to thrive, right? As a young individual, you're in school, you ideally need a set of chances in order to understand what are your likings and dislikings. And if you don't have that, then that kind of hinders your progress academically and personally. So I think that was the goal. Watching Youth Grow Youth accelerate and expand has been so incredibly fulfilling. What began as a solo journey has now evolved into a global movement. And thanks to the incredible dedication of our team of 30 plus volunteers, it's just been so remarkable to witness the tangible impact that we've been able to make on thousands of lives across the world since we started in 21.
Oh gosh, I love that so much. And I love the fact that, you know, a lot of young people in your position would complain about the lack of resource. They'd complain about, you know, that they didn't have the access, and you just haven't done that. What you've done is you've created a movement and you've created action, and that for me is really exciting.
Tanith, I did the complaining so much. I did all the nagging. I did all of that. And I'm like, Simone, where is your way out? You can cry all you want, but what is the way out? Everyone is crying, right? So that's when I'm like, okay, the problem does exist. The solution to somewhat is here. The market is here. So I see a clear vision. The problem in the market, all I need is a solution. And if nobody's coming up with a solution, then it might as well just be me. Let me throw my foot into the pond and see what I can come up with. And it worked out.
It definitely worked out. And I'm going to mention that number again because it blows my mind, you know, that there's been over 60,000 young people that you've impacted that don't need to complain now because they're in a situation where they've got resources. And actually, of those young people that you've impacted, nearly 25,000 of them are underprivileged students, and those in government schools that are in India, those that would have the least amount of access, essentially. So, you know, how does that feel? Because you must know now that you've impacted so many young lives that without your resources and without your input wouldn't have that access.
Okay, here's a quick stat that I'd like to share with you. Today, there's about 40% of the global population that is comprised of young people. And yet, there are so many individuals that simply don't have access to these opportunities for personal and professional growth just because of the background and the caste and the color that they come from. And it is so heartbreaking to know that this disparity does exist. We're sitting in the 21st century and it's still happening. People are still being deprived of opportunities just because of these underlying small reasons. And what is even more heartbreaking is the fact that this goes unacknowledged so many times. People talk about this all the time and people say, hey, you know, there are people who don't find access to opportunities, but can we talk about why this is happening? Can we address this actively and really just talk about why is it that there are a certain set of individuals that don't find this access? It's because this disparity is still in the picture. So we can cover this as broadly as we want and sugarcoat it and say, hey, you know, okay, there are a certain set of people that find this opportunity access and resource access, but then there's also a set of people that don't. Why is this happening? And I think since day one, for us, the mission has been to help make this as actively accessible, regardless of people's age and background and color and caste and things like that. And I feel even though we have a massively long way to go from here, knowing that we have been able to help a certain number of underprivileged students and those in government schools today has been very, very nice. It feels nice to be able to talk about that number and fills me with immense pride and joy, because I think as a young individual, you deserve every bit of opportunities, no matter where you come from, no matter who you are, no matter what you do. And I think, honestly, this has been the driving force behind Youth Grow Youth and my passion for empowering young people globally since day one.
Yeah, amazing. And so true. I lived in India for a few years, and seeing the disparity in terms of access and education and just in general is so huge. So, you know, until we level that playing field and we give access and opportunity to all young people, like you say, no matter what their circumstances, things can't change, but what you're doing is accelerating that change, and that's really, really important. And you know, you have been recognised for that. So you've had several awards, including the Harvard Innovative Fellowship, She Inspires Young Achiever Award, and of course the Global Youth Award that you won last year. How does that feel? How does it help to receive international recognition for the work that you're doing?
It's been both an honor and a very, very beautiful validation of our efforts since we began in 2021. And I think for the most part, these accolades serve as a very powerful motivator for us to continue striving for more and continue doing the things that we're doing. And ultimately, I think it's been very empowering to see that our efforts to make resources and opportunities accessible to young people around the world are being recognized on multiple global platforms today. And as much as these awards encourage us to push boundaries and aim higher, knowing that our impact is being noticed and celebrated, they also remind us of the responsibility that we have to the youth that we serve, and thus inspiring us to work even harder each day to make any ounce of difference that we can as a startup. And in fact, the Global Youth Awards last November, I reckon, was the latest, and it was such a beautiful experience to be there in that hall with so many amazing people to witness the speeches and the talks of the winners. And I absolutely love everything the Roundtable Global is doing. It was a brilliant experience, and I had so much fun being there.
Yeah, it was so wonderful to have you there. Obviously, as an international awards, we do have a lot of people that have to accept remotely. So the more people that we have there that can experience it, and that's the plan for us in the future. We want to get funding so that we can bring everybody over to experience that, because
that'd be so lovely.
Yeah, same reason, you know, it shouldn't matter what your background is, you should have an equal opportunity to experience that. So that's the plan moving forward for us. And I love what you were saying about it giving you the drive to work harder and do more, because that recognition helps you to understand how important it is and the impact that you're doing. So of course, in the lead up to the interview, I've done a little bit of research on bits and bobs that you've been doing. And I do know that in addition to all of this incredible work that you're doing through Youth Grow Youth, that you're also an amazing poet, which I love, because I think having a creative outlet, especially when you're so academic, is really, really important. How important is it for you to find time for that as a creative outlet?
Gosh, to me, poetry has always been a very interesting and super, super creative outlet, like you've mentioned. And it's always given me that space for reflection and self-expression that I need. And since day one, I have been a very, very opinionated child with strong views on just about everything. So you might have guessed it often got me into so much trouble. Like, I will be the one child in class that will stand up and go, hey, you know what? I think this is making sense. Can we please redo that? And as much as it's a bold trait, it did get me into so much trouble. And I realized I needed a creative outlet to express myself without really ruffling too many feathers. And poetry to me became that perfect space. It's very essential, I think, to find that balance between work and personal passions. And poetry allows me to kind of tap into my emotions, connect with others, in fact, as well, on a much deeper level. And this outlet has really helped me recharge and stay inspired, which in turn fuels my energy and work for Youth Grow Youth as well.
Yeah, amazing. And I read a particular one, and it was about your mother and the apples, and it really touched my heart. You know, you've got such a beautiful way of writing, and I love that you're using that. I love that it's your way of keeping out of trouble. That's so brilliant, absolutely brilliant. write it through poetry, and then it doesn't necessarily mean it's your opinion. It's just a beautiful piece of creativity. But I spoke to actually Ali's Latter, who was one of the winners from last year, and she runs the Starving Artist, and she was talking about how art and creativity in so many different areas is a really wonderful way of getting the message across in terms of
Absolutely.
and that definitely shines through on the poetry that you've been doing, which is really beautiful.
Oh, thank you for reading, Tanith. That's so nice to hear.
I really love it. So as mentioned above, you're currently studying in the UK. But what are your plans for the future? Where do you see yourself living and working? What are the plans with Youth Grow Youth? What are your hopes and dreams for the future?
So for me right now, even though I'm hitting the books in the UK, my future plans definitely include steering Youth Grow Youth to newer heights and making an even bigger impact than we have right now. But I'd say that's not it. I'm also very drawn to the fashion and the luxury market, where I do plan to make my mark. And I envision a life of living and working all over the world, mixing it up with different cultures and communities to still continue sparking a meaningful change. And my ultimate goal is to really build a sustainable, forward-thinking future for Youth Grow Youth, while also diving headfirst into the world of luxury and fashion. For me, it's really all about blending my passions and living life to the fullest. So that is the motto for the next few years.
Well, I can definitely see you doing all of that. And I love that, because life is not a sit-down meal, it's a buffet. And I love the fact that you want to experience, little bits of everything. And I guess, sort of taste the world and see what works for you. I've no doubt that that's going to happen. And whatever you turn your hand to is going to be absolutely sensational. I'm looking forward, you're now a global change ambassador for us. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how we can support you in the acceleration of that growth as well. But thank you so much, Simone, for talking to us today. We're going to share the links to everything that you would like people to be able to access so that they can have that. But we're really, really looking forward to seeing how things grow even further for you in the future. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for doing this, Tanith. This was such a pleasure.